Tony, question for you. Now that everyone with the internet connection can train with you, follow your workout plans, etc., how has that changed the way that you market yourself?
Man, I'm probably, out of the three of us, I'm probably the worst at marketing. uh,
Tony, I think you do great though on you are so consistent with content.
I thank you, Josh.
You're probably the best.
I think I take a very organic way of marketing. Like I very much am more of a my content speaks for itself kind of guy. I think my website alone, I have Dean's probably in the same ballpark, and even Kelly. I have over 2,000 articles just on my website. That's a lot of freaking writing.
That's tons.
So, I don't like to glorify myself. Like I'm not on Instagram I joke about taking my shirt off and I never do it. I'm definitely not like a me guy. Like if you check out my Instagram, Twitter, it's probably more about my clients than it is, and my cat, than it is about me. I feel like I take a very organic approach to my marketing process, in the sense, like I have this big conglomeration of content that I've put out, and I think it speaks for itself. And then I practice what I preach. Like, people can watch me on social media and my videos. Like, I take pride in the fact that when I write programs, 95% of the time I've done what I've programmed myself. So, and I think people realize that, and it's just about being authentic, and that's just my approach to it.
Yeah, stuff to read while you pretend to work. That's some of my favorite stuff. That's awesome.
I just take other people's stuff and say, go read this. Like,
that's great. Kelly, what would you say? Now that everyone has an internet connection, everybody can train with you, follow your workout plans, etc., how has that changed the way you market yourself?
Yeah, and I love the fact that Tony mentioned authenticity. That's so huge. You want to show up as you are and not create this sort of persona of who you think people want you to be, because people buy trainers. They don't buy programs. As much as we spend our time catering to write the best programs in the world, they're purchasing you. They're purchasing an experience with you. So if you have this caricature of yourself online, or you have this presence, and then all of a sudden you become a coach and you're a totally different person, people are going to feel like bamboozled, like, wait, I bought one thing and I got another thing. And then, as Tony said, his strength really is content development, particularly writing. So find your magic and run with that. If you're not a great writer, you don't have to write. If you're great on camera, then go with that. If you take amazing selfies and you're hilarious and you really shine on Instagram, make that your thing. So find your own magic and don't try to copy other people, because you're just going to flounder and you're going to waste a lot of time.
Yeah, and you're going to just get lost in the market. And so, I definitely see how that's just extremely important. So, Tony, back to you real quick. We've talked about finding your niche and how the niche is so important. And now we're kind of talking about marketing yourself, but the brand, the Tony Gentilcore brand. Can you talk about just, the importance of building that up for the, online fitness industry?
Yeah, that's, I get asked that a lot. I don't think a week goes by that I don't get an email from somebody saying, how do I get to your level? What do I need to do to write for so-and-so, or, anything of that nature. And I always say, I've been doing this for 15 years, maybe 17 years, like give or take. I forget where I'm at now. And it's just unrelenting patience, and putting in the work. And then there's no sexy glorified answer to this, other than you got to do the work. You got to build career capital. You got to gain experience. And, I think a lot of younger trainers do kind of fall into the trap of trying to develop a brand first, when they don't have a brand to develop in the first place. Like, if you just graduated college, like, who are you? Like, don't worry about that. Go gain the experience. Like, I always tell trainers, like, you should spend the first 1 to 5 years, probably more along the lines of 5 years, training in a commercial gym. Like, I did it. Dean did it for years and years and years. Like, Eric Cressy did it. We all did it. And it's only going to make you better. And you're really going to learn I'm team niche. You're going to learn your niche. And by working in a commercial gym, because you're going to get access to so many different personalities and so many different backgrounds and so many different injuries, and you're only going to get better. And that's going to be the number one way of building your brand. And then it's just being, and Kelly nailed it too, like just being authentic. Like don't be somebody you're not.
Yeah, that's good. Let's go to the other team member of Team Niche. I can't even say it the way you guys do. What would you say? What is what is that thing that, maybe like Tony, you probably get asked all the time, building your brand? How have you set yourself apart there?
Well, I think part of it with any brand comes down to who's the individual behind it. So if you can showcase your personality in a way that conveys the authenticity, but also something that people would want to hang out with. So if you're dry personality, cool. Make that part of your shtick. Make that part of who you are as an individual and put that into your writing or your content. If you want to be a class clown, awesome. Put that into whatever personality you're trying to put out there. But people want to hang out with people that they would want to hang out with. And whether that's they want to buy training from them or keep coming back to the website or doing whatever, make it something where people actually enjoy the process versus reading stereo instructions. So in the fitness industry, it should be expected that everyone knows what they're talking about or has baseline amount of knowledge. Unfortunately, some people do, some people don't. But for the layperson out there, they don't know. They don't know what somebody's knowledge base should be or shouldn't be unless they're reading a lot of the same textbooks. So if you know what you're talking about, great. Convey that in a way that's somewhat interesting and entertaining. And then also try and work in more of like a problem-solving mindset. Why are you here for people? It's to help them overcome something. It's to help them understand where to get from A to B. So help them to see where those problems exist and how to overcome them. For a lot of what I do, it's, okay, your knee hurts when you're squatting. Well, try these different things to see if that helps out. Your back's sore whenever you go to pick up your kids. Okay, try doing these different things as you're going through that. I don't need to specifically explain the mechanisms of hydraulic pressure on the posterior disc for them to understand, okay, if you do this differently, you might have a better result, something that they can take with them into action. They might not be reading MRIs, but now they're actually buying into the thought process, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about because he gave me something that I can put into practice and is actually beneficial to me. And I want to listen to what that individual is saying. Maybe I should get training from them in the future.
Yeah, no, that's great. And Kelly, how would you say, in this huge market, Tony and Dean just kind of touched on it, but huge market with a ton of buyers, everybody looking to get in shape, be the best version of themselves. So now just a ton of trainers out there. How do you set yourself apart?
My biggest advice, which really, really helps me a ton, is put on your blinders. Turn off all the noise. Don't look at your competition. Just be you. If you have an issue where you get that imposter syndrome, right? You feel like you don't fit in, you're not smart enough, you're not educated enough, you haven't worked with enough people, you don't train celebrities, whatever it is, turn that off. Stop following people on Instagram that make you feel small. Stop, making yourself feel like you're not worthy of what you're doing, and just focus on being you and being the best version of you can possibly be, because that's what people buy.
Yeah. Blunt, straight to the point, but it makes complete.
I'm good at blunt. That's why people buy me.
Yeah, there you go. Be blunt, set yourself apart. Tony, can you tell us what are some of the online tools that you've used to grow your online fitness business?
I mean, if we're talking back in the day, it was what is this digital camera, and like what? And I'm horrible with Excel, but initially that's what it was. It was email, Excel, digital camera, and once YouTube came into play, that saved me a lot of time. But yes, I mean, I think it would be asinine for me not to mention Exercise.com.
Yeah, thank you, appreciate that.
They've done a pretty stellar job of making my life infinitely easier and more organized, and making everything in one little spot that I can send people to, and I can. It's a wonderful, wonderful place to do business. So there you go.
I like Kelly does some cool stuff. I think Kelly leverages. If you guys, I don't know if you how much follow Kelly, but Kelly, it seems like every time I check something out or I'm working with you on something, it's like, oh, now she's leveraging this thing. I'm like ClickFunnels. I'm just kidding.
I'm always like, Jeff, is it possible to do this thing with the app?
Okay, let's figure it out.
I built like an entirely different app than what you came out with.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, okay, let's figure it. But I'd like to hear you, because I think you do really good at that too, like leveraging different things in your systems.
Yeah. So, I mean, the number one thing when you're thinking about your systems is you have to look at your budget, right? Like, what is it, my budget? What can I afford? At minimum, you have to have some way to collect money from people. Hopefully you're not asking them to mail checks, but like if you use a system like Exercise.com, that payment system is built in there for you. You have to think about how you're going to deliver your content to people, and then how you're going to attract people. So some type of sales page system, an email marketing, or you don't really need an email marketing system, but that helps tremendously, because you don't want to be writing like individual emails when you have a promotion to 1,000 people or whatever. So like for me, I use ClickFunnels, and you can build out as many sales pages as you want. Yes, I have a membership site with a big website, but you don't need that. You need one sales page to tell people what you offer, and that'll send them to your carts. And then as your budget expands, you can certainly add things to that, but don't think that you need everything in the world, in order to succeed. You don't need to spend $10,000 a month on all these different systems, and Facebook ads, and don't get in over your head if you're not at that level and you don't know what you're doing, because you'll end up losing a lot of money.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's so many different softwares and technologies out there today. I think it's easy for somebody new to the business just to get, overwhelmed, think they, need to use them all. When you're saying, I feel like one of the overcurring themes throughout this has been start small, start very specific and grow as you go, kind of thing. So yeah, that makes sense. So if the secret hasn't been exposed yet, all three of you guys use Exercise.com for your web platform and apps to deliver your training and all that. You have fully custom branded apps and web platform that you're selling your training through. So Dean, what would you say, what is, maybe the top one or two things that you felt our platform and apps have really, helped you on the online side?
Primarily usability and experience for the person who's purchasing the programming. I mean, if they're able to take their phone onto the gym floor with them, look up an exercise, click a button and see a video of it in real time while they're going through the exercise, that makes it a lot easier for them versus printing off a sheet of paper, going to the gym, looking at it, not knowing what the exercise actually is, and then coming back and trying to look up a video on the computer afterwards and doing something different. Just having that real-time element plays a huge role in having the client have a better quality workout and a better experience overall with it.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. Tony, anything you would add to that?
That is a lovely answer. But my number one thing would be Jeff himself. It's really cool to have the support, like, because I could email Jeff and about this or that, and like, hey, what can I do to better leverage my marketing? What can I do about this? What do you think about that? And he goes above and beyond to help me. He thinks of stuff I don't even know what I don't know. He's definitely my secret weapon, and the whole Exercise.com team, to be honest. But certainly having the ability to email Jeff and glean his insight and expertise is great.
If I wasn't red enough with the hair, now my face.
Awesome. So if you're a trainer listening and you're you're thinking about getting signed up, you will have your own Jeff Cruz designated to you to help you get going.
Sure. I love to help whoever I can. Just an opportunity.
Awesome. Really appreciate that, guys. And beautiful dog, Kelly. Thank you.
I should have brought my dog to work. Dean, didn't you? I still remember the email, Dean, when you gave me that you had a dog. You rescued some dog.
Yeah, we got 3 rescues. We just rescued one last January from Thailand. So you might have heard them kind of barking in the background a couple minutes ago, but Lindsay managed to shut them up pretty quickly. They like to bark at the neighbors. Anytime they come or go, they tell them, you shouldn't be on our sidewalk.
That's awesome. And I think, that just shows one of the things that, I'm just learning more and more as we have this call is you guys are just cool people. You're fun people, like people that you want to hang around and want to be around. And, that's one of the reasons that your brands have become so popular and people trust you and people want to, buy your programming. So yeah, that's great. And then, to just kind of wrap things up, would love to hear just any closing comments you guys, if a trainer says, hey, I want to move online, or a trainer's thinking about it, any closing comments, any last words, recommendation, anything, you want to mention, and then we'll kind of wrap things up and head out here.
Who's going first?
Ladies first, I guess.
Ladies first.
I definitely encourage people, as long as it's right for you. So take a look at your knowledge base. How much time do you spend online? How do you interact online? Will this be something that you're capable of providing service to, through?
Mm-hmm.
So that's hugely important. A lot of people try to come online and then they realize it's not what they anticipated. It's not super sexy. It's not glorifying. In fact, half the time I look like a homeless person. You guys got lucky today. I had time to look human. But you just make sure that it's right for you, and then dive in head first. And you don't have to be perfect right out of the gate. You're going to make mistakes. So that's why it's always good to start small, take ample notes, constantly refine.
Yeah, and the perfection thing's key too, because I played college soccer. My coach always said, if I'm not talking to you, that's an issue. If I'm not correcting you, and so that's the idea, you're not going to be perfect. You almost want to, you're going to mess up and you're going to learn from it. It's going to make you better for being, Tony was saying, 17 years. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
Yeah, you make a lot of the same mistakes that you do as an in-person trainer. I know Tony's been great about telling stories of when he first started, and the things that he looks back on as a young trainer that he screwed up, but by making those mistakes and acknowledging them, you grow from them. And it's the same thing online.
Awesome.
Tony and Dean?
I think what I would add is you need to learn how to fail well, because you're going to fail. So that's part of the process. But I think too, there's a book that I reference a lot by Ship and Dan Heath called Decisive, and they talk about this thing that they call an ooch. And I would encourage anyone interested in pursuing distance coaching or online coaching to ooch into it. And that could be selfishly purchasing programming from one of the three of us and trying it out and seeing what we do and what the process is and what the interactions are like and what kind of videos we shoot and what our programming looks like, and to see if that's something that you can emulate, or not emulate, but do yourself. So again, I just think sometimes you just gotta do a little taste test, or like I said, an ooch, to see if it's something you think you'd actually be interested in doing. So that would be a good piece of advice I would give people.
Love it.
Finish it off, man.
Sometimes I sound smart.
For me, I would say that growth is probably going to be best measured in drips versus tidal waves. It's not going to be something where on day one, when you first set up your sales page, you'll have 100 people knocking down your door to try to give you money hand over fist. You might get one new client in the first couple of months, and then another new client a couple of months later. And then eventually you might get to a point where you have onboarding, marketing funnels, all that kind of stuff. But growth is going to be slow for the first little while. Expect it to be slow, plan for it to be slow. And then if it's not slow, great, you've exceeded what your plan should be. But a lot of the time people will get into online training and say, oh, I'll do online training. And then they give up because they only got 3 clients in a year. Maybe it was because they just didn't have enough of a process beforehand, or people weren't finding them, or they were putting all their eggs into that basket and saying, this has to be successful. It's not successful. I have to give it up. So having a plan B to fall back on, like in-person training or writing or something different, makes it so that as you build up an online catalog of resources and of clients that can pay different things, that allows you to have that growth process get to a point where you can actually be sustainable with it.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, that's great advice across the board. This has been awesome. I mean, this has been it makes me want to go into personal training and start my own brand. So
don't do it. Don't do it.
The last advice from Tony is don't do it. Thank you, Tony. Really appreciate it.
We should have started the call with that. We could have just gone a totally different direction.
Love it, guys. Well, we are thankful for you. Jeff, anything you want to add before we hop off?
No, like always, it's always a pleasure discussing with you all. And just thanks.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Been a pleasure.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.